Hey everyone, hope you're doing well out there. I'm going to try to move quickly on this one, check out the articles and do the reading on your own. Today we're talking about our caffeinated youth, our caffeinated people, some of the problems that might be involved in high caffeine usage, one of the most commonly used and normalized drugs on Earth, and very destructive to the human physiology and psychology. So we're going to start out at KPIX CBS Channel 5 Oakland Youth Violent Crime Spree on the rise during the pandemic. You might have heard some of these stories here and there, but we're putting them all together today as usual. Fox 8 News, Ohio Supreme Court rules Amazon not liable after local teen dies from caffeine powder overdose. Seemingly unrelated events, but indeed they are related. Panic on train as gang of 30 teens board armed with hammers and bats. I think this is in Ireland. ER visits for mental health issues increase among teens and young children, having to do with anxiety and depression. Newport Academy, teen anxiety statistics are on the rise. How can you help your teen? You see a lot of kind of like a helplessness. People don't know really what to do. And so that's why I'm making this video today for everyone. Attacks of uncontrollable anger, common in U.S. teens. You hear a lot about anger disorders in young adults and adults as well. Is this teen angst or an uncontrollable anger disorder? Strange, right? PBS, KQED, teen addiction epidemic. The rising epidemic of teen addiction. We're at the National Library of Medicine, Missouri Medicine Journal of Medical Association. The vaping epidemic in adolescence. You see a lot of addiction-related psychological disorders in our youth today, and young adults and adults. Fox News, teen drug abuse becoming an epidemic must be addressed. Moving along here, the lasting damage caused by pornography addiction in teens. So you're seeing this high propensity in teens and young adults and children, and they seem to be unable to control addiction, which is a neurological issue primarily. WebMD, parents desperate fight versus screen addiction in their teens and young children. USA Today, young kids' tooth decay hits epidemic proportions. This is way back in 2014. You don't really hear any of this on the TV, of course, because it's not motivated by identity politics or the flavor of the month. That's why I started this channel, because we go into things that are immediately affecting our people rather than the things that you can find on TV. Okay, now we're at the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. The title of this one is Caffeine in Children. This one's pretty important. I went over this in a previous video, but we'll do it again here, where the sources of caffeine include sodas, coffee, tea, energy drinks, chocolates, coffee-flavored stuffs like ice creams, yogurts, coffee candies, other beverages like water and juices. If you look closely at some of the bottled things that you can get from the regular grocery store, it'll have one of the last ingredients will actually be a caffeine, and what they add to these drinks comes in some sort of a powder, just like what the teen who passed away from the powder caffeine overdose. So yeah, they use that and they throw it in there, of course, because they want you to buy more and it makes you more thirsty, so you need to drink more water or juice. Lip balms, some skincare products that have coffee flavoring are also caffeinated. Non-prescription over-the-counter medications also contain caffeine. Not sure why. Supplements, yeah, weight loss related stuff, combination. They've even infected the CBD market now and the cannabis market with these caffeine additives. So children and adults may experience a range of effects, and a lot of these you might recognize in yourself or in your friends and family and your loved ones. And it's pretty easy to get rid of. Well, as easy as, breaking a caffeine addiction. So, insomnia, jumpiness, hyperactivity, anxiety, things like ADHD, ADD, problems with attention, like attention deficit disorder, nausea, lack of appetite. That's a really big one because it affects our stomach a lot and the intestinal microbiome, which is really important for mineral absorption and overall health. Tremors and dizziness. There's even some research that links it to early onset diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. People in their 40s and 50s getting these diseases, which used to be unheard of, but now it's rather common. And it's all very easily taken care of if, if you can break your addiction to caffeine. Increased energy and reduced fatigue. Kind of an interesting one. People have trouble. They'll be really tired and yet they can't go to sleep. And that's similar to what's going on here. Okay, so now we're talking about caffeine overdose. You don't really hear about caffeine overdose anywhere. And some of the symptoms are pretty interesting, and they can actually describe why we're having all these troubles that we went over in the previous articles that I just shared with you. Some of the most important ones that stick out to me, again, we're at the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. Increased risk of panic, anger, violence, increased propensity to commit violent acts, increased risk-taking, substance use problems. So a lot of people will be wondering, why is this happening? Well, it's because our children and our people are heavily and extremely addicted to caffeine, which makes them irritable, prone to committing heinous, violent acts for no reason. Quite often, the detectives will ask these individuals, why did you do it? And they'll be like, I don't know, I was upset. Inability to control their emotions has a lot to do with how the caffeine reduces the cerebral blood flow into the brain, and it can compromise logic centers and reasoning centers, things like that. So it makes a lot of sense today. Yeah, so all these things are pretty much related to caffeine overdose. Yeah, these uncontrollable anger outbursts in teens are very common now. You see this a lot in the grocery stores and stuff, when kids will freak out and have their little tantrums. It's becoming much more common. Yeah, teen addiction is huge. Screen time, vaping. It's kind of like they make it seem a little silly on the TV, but when you put it all together like this, the reality of our situation becomes a little more clear. So yeah, you want to reduce your caffeine to zero. Pretty much anyone who drinks coffee or uses caffeinated products, it's contributing to a host of chronic illnesses, and people will be like, well, why is this happening to me? What's going on? Irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, different kinds of intestinal problems. They're also involved with caffeine addiction because of how it affects the chemistry in the intestine, because it's highly acidic, just like acidic forms of alcohol like wine and beer. You see a lot of these chronic illnesses in the digestive tract, cancers in the excretory systems, and that's pretty much why caffeine has a lasting impact on our biology. And that's why it's easily available on every street corner, because caffeine pretty much is one of the main things that supports the Western medical institutions, the high price for medical care, high rates of chronic illness. And I'm always talking to people out there, and they have this kind of helpless attitude. They don't know what to do. They're not equipped with this information. And so that's why we go over this kind of stuff, because once the mind can identify a problem, then it can actually take steps to remedy the problem and fix it, and ask for help if necessary from friends and family or loved ones. So yeah, check out the articles. Very important stuff here today. You won't hear about this on the TV, but yeah, this is a huge problem affecting our immediate happiness and well-being. So that's why we're going over this today. Hope you're doing well out there, guys. Thank you.